Welcome back to another installment of Replay or Reject, PlayStation Classic Edition. Just a quick recap, I'm giving each game on the PlayStation Classic 1 hour to win me over. After that hour, I'll make my determination on whether the game would be worth replaying in the future, or if it will get added to my ever-growing list of reject games that I never want to play again. There's only one game on this list that I've actually beaten before. The rest of them either I have barely played, never played, or never even heard of. Well, that's enough preamble, so let's get to it. Now we get to Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. I remember when this game came out and thinking it looked awesome. At the time though, I thought it was just more like a regular first-person shooter, and I later found out that the Tom Clancy games are more strategic games, rather than something like Doom or Duke Nukem or any of the other boomer shooters I grew up with. Our opening cutscene starts up, and I was getting spoiled with Metal Gear and Siphon Filter and some of the other games on this classic console, as this is more what I was expecting PS1 cutscenes to look like. It's like someone smeared Vaseline all over the lens. Blurry graphics aside though, it's not terrible. The voiceover's pretty good, and this woman's voice sounds familiar, but I just can't place it. She sets up the backstory for the game, and looks like we're going to be focused on a counterterrorism group called Rainbow. Not quite sure that Rainbow is what I would name my super tough elite squad, but maybe that's the intent. Like this way, if you accidentally mention the name, people probably won't press you too much for details.
Dude, he's talking about that gay bar down on Locust Street, the Rainbow. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
No.
Right, I'm gonna go check it out, alone.
We have another bare bones menu for this game, basically just story mode or training level. I fire up the training level first so I can at least learn the basics, hopefully. Once I start this mode, I'm immediately told I have to swap to the red team member. Okay, like, why didn't you just start me as the red team member then? I guess that's supposed to teach you that you're going to be having to switch between the different people, but still dumb. So I switch to red guy and run up to the house where I blow the door open with one of the wussiest explosions in video game history.
What the hell is that?
My mission here is to save a hostage and disarm a bomb. I spend a few minutes just wandering around and trying to get used to the controls. This is another game where we have to aim up and down with the trigger buttons. I don't know if this game had DualShock support, and I'm just using my stickless classic controller anyway, so just had to make do here. Graphically, it's about what I expected. The textures are all muddy and everything is pretty barren, but it's serviceable. I eventually stumbled upon the hostage, and right next to him is the bomb. Took me forever to disarm it though, because I had to randomly press buttons to figure out which one was the operate button. So it's L1 plus circle, and I only know that because I got a pop-up once I went near to the hostage, but it didn't show that when I was next to the bomb. So with that figured out, I disarmed the bomb and guided the hostage out the front, and then that was just kind of it. So my objectives were done, but it didn't tell me if there was more to do, or if it was just done completely, or what. So I swapped back to blue guy, and it again told me to switch to red guy. And so then I went into the same house, and the hostage and bomb stuff was just reset again. So I guess that's all that this part of training is, just doing these two objectives over and over again. I guess that's it, because I wandered around the house a little bit more and picked some locks, but there didn't really seem to be much reason to do so. So I switched back to blue guy one more time, and it looks like if you just stay as him, you do the assault course. The game really doesn't make it clear that there was anything to do with this guy, but whatever. I didn't make it very far, as the second section had this little ditch that I kept falling into. I did make it over once, but then I went back so I could try to do it again, and I couldn't figure out how I did it the first time, so that was enough of that.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
With the waste of time training out of the way, there was nothing else to do but start into the main campaign. Once I start, I have the option to choose my roster and equipment and insertion points. I don't really understand what any of this is yet, so I just went with the defaults on everything. I start off with the guy on the roof, and I shoot my way through a window into the attic, and that's where I get stuck. There's a trap door in here, but there's no open door option or anything, so I try to jump back out to the main roof, but Mr. Elite Soldier here is apparently incapable of hopping up a 3-foot ledge.
If God wanted you up there, he would have miracled your ass up there by now, wouldn't he?
Well, one thing the tutorial at least taught me was how to switch to other characters, so I did that. Now, Red Guy starts off on the ground floor, and the bad guys were nice enough to leave the front door wide open for me. Right inside, I run into my first enemies, and luckily for me, not only is the auto-aim pretty generous, but these guys must have gotten their marksmanship training from Stormtrooper University. Inside the house, all I could notice was how comically large some of the furniture and stuff was. It's slightly better than when Doom 2 came out and they tried to make things look like Earth and we just had to suspend disbelief, but not by much. Despite my cockiness earlier, I did end up getting gunned down, and then I have to take over as Green Guy, who starts up on a balcony. I run through and kill a few more guys, and then in one of the rooms there's a suspicious looking trapdoor in the ceiling. Still no option to open it, so I took a chance and shot at it, and lo and behold...
Where'd you come from?
I didn't even think of just shooting it when I was originally jumped into the level, because this is a sort of stealthy game, so I figured there would be a stealthier way to open it. But nope, apparently you just shoot it. I just leave him alone, and I go back to clearing this house that has absolutely no rhyme or reason to its architecture. It reminds me of the mansion from Resident Evil, where some of the doors just open to more doors and the layout doesn't make any logical sense. I guess if you're that rich to afford a house this big, you can just have random rooms added for no reason other than to flex on the poors. At long last, I find my hostage, so I tell him to follow me and we make our way downstairs. Oh wait, did we? I go back up and dude is stuck on the geometry. Really, I'm trying to save your life and you can't even figure out how to get through a doorway? I think to myself, is someone this dumb even worth saving? Probably not, but I got a job to do. Anyway, so now we make our way downstairs and out onto the balcony where I guess we just hitch a ride on a helicopter or something. It goes to black and then there's a tally screen at the end and I didn't do great. One of my guys died, another one just hung out in the attic the whole time, but the mission was completed at least. Moving on to the second mission, we're headed to the Congo this time. I ignore the briefing and just go with all the defaults again. The different soldiers have different stats and stuff, so there is probably some depth there if you really want to get into this game. But I'm just looking to try out the gameplay here.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
This time we're dropped off in the middle of a jungle and my boys just take off ahead. Probably because they actually read the briefings and actually know what's going on. I catch up though and go in through the basement where we're in another maze-like house crawling with enemies. And I have to take back my earlier comparison between this game and Resident Evil's mansion. So the mansion also had the weird layout, but most of the rooms at least had some purpose. Whereas most of the rooms in this game are just empty. I mean, maybe that's more realistic, because is your house filled with puzzle items and typewriters everywhere? Probably not. Anywho, after getting lost a bunch and retracing my steps multiple times, I ran into one too many enemies and get taken out again. Maybe Blue Guy should have just stayed up in an attic somewhere. So I switch over to Red Guy and I run up to avenge my fallen squad mate, and then I get lost some more and the map is no help at all. So I just keep doing laps looking for any doors that aren't open, meaning I hadn't been there yet. And then as I'm wandering, I go through a door and I hear gunshots behind me. I turn around just in time to see the hostage getting gunned down, and I kill the terrorist too, but it's too late.
Shit!
With just under 10 minutes left on my timer, I'm determined to at the very least finish this second mission. I still don't really remember where anything is, but I do clear the house a little faster this time, and on top of that, not only did I not die, but the hostage didn't die either. That makes this my most successful mission yet. She's even capable of following me, for the most part. And we make our way to the extraction point right as my hour runs up. I had high hopes for this one going in, and there were way worse ways I've spent an hour before, but I really don't have any desire to go back to this, so Rainbow Six is another addition for the reject pile. The rough aiming controls aren't necessarily the game's fault since they did what they could with the controller they had. And the graphics, while dated, aren't the worst I've ever seen. If you're someone that likes these more strategic shooters, then this game would probably be a lot more entertaining for you than it was for me. Even though I didn't tinker around with the different loadouts too much, it looks like there's plenty here so you can alter your squad to fit your preferred playstyle. Me though, I'm old and this is the time when I kinda got away from FPS games since the style was changing. I've always preferred the old one-man army style over this newer type that focused on utilizing cover and strategy and having a squad of allies, so this game just doesn't fit my particular preference for shooters. So yeah, probably won't ever play this game again, so I guess no more rainbows for me.
Why are you covered in glitter?
Again, no questions.